Hello, I'm going to cut you to a video now that I posted at the back end of last summer, so 6 months ago. This was my onion harvest going into store. Well, despite the rain, I've managed to get my onions dried sufficiently that they're ready to come indoors now and be stored. Check out this short clip of video from a previous video that shows my onions on an improvised drying rack in the pouring rain. Check that out, then come back to me, and when you do, I'll have been outdoors, I'll have moved the onions off the rack, and you get a better look at them. Watch that short clip of video, then come back to me. We're using the mushroom crates to store the onions. As you can see, they're still outdoors on one of my garden seats. We're protecting them from the weather with a tarpaulin. We've configured it such that the tarpaulin drains any rain into the wheelbarrow, and when it stops raining, we'll transfer that rainwater into one of my water butts. Hey, how about that? 2 for the price of 1. These are them, all grown in an 8-foot by 4-foot raised bed. Before we discuss them, I'm going to cut you to another very short clip of video that I shot as I came across the garden. This is the biggest caterpillar I've ever seen. Check that out, then come back to me and we'll talk about these onions. Wow, I've never seen a caterpillar this big before. That bad boy's got to be at least 4 inches long and 1/2 inch diameter, at least. Anybody want to tell me what it is? Do you know what it is? Right, let's get on to these onions. Okay, so the bigger ones were grown from seed, and they're either Ailsa Craig or Kailsa. I've moved them about that much now. I've probably got them mixed up and I couldn't differentiate one from the other. But the big guys were all grown from seed, and they're Ailsa Craig and the Kailsa onions. Now the smaller ones, I got confused, shall I say, when I was sowing my onions. So take your pick. There's Red Baron. I'm fairly sure you can tell which they are. There's some Centurion. There's some Sturon, and there may be others. And right in the middle there, front and centre in the middle, there's some gourmet shallots. They're Zeebrown shallots. But hey, that's a whole lot of onion, isn't it? From an 8 foot by 4 foot raised bed. Now I'm happy that they're dry now. I'm happy that we've got the curing process started, and the moisture's disappeared, notwithstanding all that rain. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move these guys indoors. Now I'll tell you this before I move them indoors. I've stored them in these crates now over a number of years. The longest I've ever had an onion in store for is 6 months, and I didn't lose a single onion. Now it was in store for 6 months, that particular one, and it was the last one of the batch that I grew that year. I suspect these onions will probably last us more than 6 months. But will we get them past that 6 months? I don't know. And I guess you won't know unless you come back to me, because I'll probably do an update on this, because storing onions is something that has got to be done. If you grow so many onions, you've got to be able to store them, and the last thing you want is to store them and they start spoiling. So I've done it this way for a number of years now, and it's worked for me. If you store them this way, hopefully it'll work for you. Right, let's get these guys indoors. Okay, that's them. They're on the racking in the garage. I think it's only fair to say that we're just about to move into the first autumn month here at Homegrown Veg in the United Kingdom. So although it's a nice sunny day today, days are going to get shorter, they're going to get cooler, they're going to get colder as we move into winter. And that's important if you're storing anything in a garage. The door will be down most of the time, so these onions will be in the dark most of the time. When the door's up, there'll be a good air exchange in here, so there's no chance of any dampness creeping in, and they'll be stored through the colder months. And this works for me now. If you're trying to store these somewhere where it's warm, where it's hot, where it's damp, where it's humid, perhaps the garage isn't the place. Perhaps there's somewhere better, but this works for me, and it has worked for me over a number of years now. Yeah, that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. We're done with onions now for another year. Apart from every month I will lift these onions down, I will inspect them, and if there's any that don't look as though they're going to make it, I'll bin them. You can't just store and forget any vegetable. It's got to be checked regularly. Even potatoes that I'm storing in paper bags in the garage, I empty those bags out regularly into my wheelbarrow and inspect the potatoes. Any that are spoiling get thrown out, the rest go back in the bag. That's how we do it here at Homegrown Veg. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out. This is the promised video update. And this is Meg's ball. Just in case I forget, when we get outdoors, these are the big guys grown from seed. These are the redskins grown from sets. These gourmet shallots grown from sets. Smaller onions grown from sets, and I think there are some shallots in here. And Meg's ball. Gives you an idea of size, doesn't it? Meg's ball. Yeah. Okay, so I've moved the crates outdoors off the racks. Let's go outdoors and see what's left of the onions. Are you coming out, Meg? Are you coming out? Right, take that ball and I'll get the onions. This is what's left of my onion harvest that's been in store for about 6 months. As you can see, there's a few left, but we've eaten most of them, and the ones that aren't in this shot that we haven't eaten, I've either given them away or we've lost them. And I think we've lost about 12, although I haven't been counting, but I think at least 12 of the onions that were in store went into the bin. But I think you'll agree that we've done quite well, haven't we? Keeping these onions for this length of time, 6 months in store, and we're now going in to the 7th month. That'll be 7 months in store. Now I've got to tell you, these redskins, they're firm, they're solid. They've been a good onion. Red Baron grown from sets. These are those big guys. I think they might be Kelsa, grown from seed. There's a few over there as well. Look, they've stayed the distance. This crate with the ball in, Meg's ball. Gourmet shallots, a couple more there. Banana shallots. Yeah, they've lasted. And this crate that now has Meg's ball in, We haven't practiced this, by the way. They were grown from sets. That's a beauty. That's a firm little onion. Yeah, we're pleased with those. And we also have some bog standard shallots as opposed to gourmet shallots, ordinary shallots. I think I grew those in a bucket. And I'm fairly confident I did that. Okay, so what do you think? 6 months in store. If you're storing onions, if you're growing onions and you want to store onions, I've just given you an heads up as to how I do it, and it works for me. It could work for you. There's probably other ways of doing this, but that's how I do it, and these are the results. After 6 months, these onions are still sound. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, a thumbs up would be nice. You might even want to share it on social media. There's a share button just below the video. Press that. You get access to some of the platforms that you might want to share this video on. Friends and family, they might be growing onions. They might be wanting to store onions at some time in the future. And I'm sure they would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. Okay, so this is Homegrown Veg signing out.